Hi everyone, this is Daniel here, the founder and executive director here at Help Elevate Youth, or HEY. Recently, we launched our new social media podcast program, which aims to raise awareness about the issue of youth homelessness and also advocating for other related issues in the wider nonprofit sector. I'm excited to officially launch our podcast program by posting the first episode here on our YouTube channel, which has been newly released. So in the first episode, we interviewed Vivian, who is one of the manager and directors of Lillian Howell Project. We go into more detail about what Lillian Howell Project organization does in detail, some of the products that they're working on, what their organizational mission is, and we kind of have a brief conversation about some important issues that needs to be addressed within our society today. Please stay tuned to our YouTube channel by subscribing and sharing within your personal circle. We will be expecting to post a new podcast every fortnight or so. Also, please keep updated by joining our Discord server, keeping track of our website, and also following our social media on the Hey Instagram page. All of this is also posted on our Linktree. So once you join the Discord server, you have more access to all of that. I'll make sure to put all of the relevant links in the YouTube description box as well. And hopefully you enjoy the first episode of our podcast and be expected to see more coming in the future. Thank you.
Well, the first question would be what is it about your current job that makes you enjoy it?
I love working with young women. Do you guys know much about the Lillian Howell Project?
Yeah, I've done a little bit of research.
Cool. So you know that we're a medium to long-term service for girls aged 13 to 17 years. My experience has always been working with women, and I've been the manager here for 10 years now. And the thing that I love the most about working with young women is the fact that they're still young enough to affect change, to help them manage their trauma stuff and help giving them the best chance at not staying in their trauma past, but moving forward.
Yeah.
So that's what I enjoy about it. I love seeing the change that happens to young women when they first come from their trauma sort of background or wherever they've come from, and seeing the transformation happen within 2 to 3 months of them being at the refuge here. It's really extraordinary. And although it's really hard sometimes, the satisfaction of seeing these kids just become really awesome kick-ass girls is fantastic.
Yeah, I saw your recent blog post, and it was a lot of people who are formerly at Lillian's talking about their experiences, and it was really positive. And I also saw something about last year, you were able to allow 4 people to successfully complete the HSC, and one of them even went to study medicine at Western Sydney University. So I thought that was quite inspirational.
Yeah, it is. And she's still studying medicine. The other girl is still doing nursing. She's just started doing nursing at TAFE now. And the other one, who were the other ones? She's still studying community services. And I can't remember the fourth one, but yes, what I said in my report is still true. Those kids have gone on to really do, fantastic things. And I think providing a medium to long-term environment and support for them, because not only do they get they have an assigned caseworker here at the refuge, but we also have a partnership with Metro Housing. So there's no set time frame that the girls can stay at the refuge. It really is case by case dependent. So the girl that's studying medicine lived at Lillian's in the refuge for 2 years. And then when she was old enough, she moved into what we call transitional housing through Metro Housing. And she was still had the same caseworker, still supported by us. So had that continuum of care, but learnt how to live independently, which I think is a really important thing, teaching them the life skills that they need.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah, I really liked your sort of description and introduction to your organization. But just before we move on to the next question, I just wanted to kind of get a little bit more information about Lillian Howell Project. So, are you guys mainly just based in the Sydney region, or are you guys kind of also, have offices in like other states as well?
No, so Lillian Howell Project is the only one of its kind in the whole of New South Wales. So we are the only ones that provide medium to long-term support for women, or girls and young women. So only where we are. We also have an outreach program. So Luella does all of the outreach support with referrals that we receive from DCJ. So in like a financial year, we might support up to 100 young women, for example, and not just the accommodation that we provide. We also provide external case management.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds good. And so just moving on to the next question. Where did the passion for giving back first kind of occur to you, and where did you first kind of find inspiration in doing what you're doing now? Helping young women kind of rebuild their lives and also move on from their traumatic past.
Look, when I finished studying, I always wanted to work with women in empowering women. Previous roles that I've had have been managing a domestic violence service. So I was running a housing program where we had 11 units and we accommodated women and children escaping domestic violence. We used to run DV groups. We also had counsellors on site, and we operated a playgroup for the kids and their mums to have that sort of support. So, I've always just wanted to work with women. Then after running the DV service, I did that for nearly 10 years. Then I went to working for a service called Stepping Out Housing. And again, it was a housing program, but it was working with adult women survivors of child sexual abuse. And I did that for a few years. And then the role with Lillian's came up as a manager, and that was 10 years ago. And I was a bit concerned because I'd never done residential work before. And, having to be available 24/7, like it's a 24/7 service. There's always staff on, there's always someone here. I was a bit concerned about that initially because my kids were quite young at the time. But once I started, I just realized that working with young people, you can see the change in young people far quicker than you can with adult women, because as adults we become quite stuck in our ways. Our neural pathways are kind of already formed in our brains, like our brain development's already kind of happened, it's kind of stopped. You can change your neural pathways, but a young person's brain doesn't really stop growing until in their 20s, until well into their 20s. So at 16, 17 is when their brains are the most malleable. So working with them and putting in really positive stuff and giving them that environment where they are held and they become very grounded in this space, gives them the capacity to grow and not be stuck in their trauma stuff, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I definitely agree with the point that you made about how youth homelessness are very different to homelessness for adults, because they're still growing and there's still a lot of opportunities for them to kind of move on and to kind of just recreate their lives and to just kind of have a new beginning.
Yeah, and to break the cycle of homelessness. Sometimes adults are so entrenched and stuck in their ways that it's really hard for them to change, whereas young people are more open and willing. And with the right kind of direction and mentoring, you can really see them make different decisions that are really good for them.
And so just a quick follow-up question. So with all of the young women that you're working with, all of the the people and individuals who come into your refuge center and seek support, what is kind of like the most common issue or predominant reason why they are kind of in the situation right now? So what kind of causes their
homelessness? Is it usually like maybe
think-
family issues or?
Yeah, so it's funny you should ask that question because I was looking at our statistics yesterday.
Yeah,
The majority of young people who come through the service do come through because of domestic and family violence. Then
Yeah.
the next one would be a relationship breakdown, then sexual assault and neglect. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the main one is definitely domestic and family violence.
yeah.
Are there any misconceptions surrounding youth homelessness that you want to address?
Yeah, I think the biggest misconception is that like young people choose to be homeless. No one chooses to be homeless. I think, sometimes people might think that the young person just wants to run their own show, or they just want to, run amok, or that it's the young person's fault that they're homeless. And I think that's a massive misconception. I think that when you're dealing with trauma and you're dealing with adults who have trauma, sometimes their capacity to parent is very low. And so, that's why domestic violence occurs. Parents might have drug and alcohol issues. They might have their own mental health issues. And so they're unable to parent their kids the way that they should, so that they grow up to be kind of, so they can have a healthy relationship, because probably the parents' own experience they've got their own trauma stuff to deal with. And so, their kids are impacted by that. So I think that I just really wanted to express that, I guess, that youth homelessness is not a choice. I don't think it's the child's fault 99% of the time. I'm not saying that all young people are perfect. There are some young people who are not great, who they might have their own mental health stuff to deal with. But I think that a lot of the time, like, no one chooses to be homeless, especially not a 14 or a 15-year-old girl. It's not a choice. Sometimes it's just what they need to do to survive.
Yeah, definitely. I really agree with that. So yeah, I definitely agree with that viewpoint, because in my close circle as well, I kind of had a few friends a few years ago who went homeless, and then I think, especially since we come from a very academically selective school, so there were a lot of like criticism, around his decision to kind of go homeless, and a lot of people just, as you said before, thought that he just chose to be homeless to try and break out of the norm and to try and be a trailblazer, to try and carve out his own path. I think in reality, it was because of the sort of familial dynamic and relationships, which is a little bit broken. And I think he was struggling with some personal issues as well. And so a lot of the times it's outside of their capabilities, as you mentioned before. Yeah.
Yeah. And, homelessness is not, the other misconception is that, homelessness happens to a certain like socioeconomic background. It doesn't.
Yeah.
Homelessness can happen, and family issues can happen to anyone, anywhere, in any suburb, from any socioeconomic background or demographic for that matter. And you guys, from your own experience, know that. And same here, we've got kids who come from very affluent backgrounds living at Lillian's, and we've got kids who come from not so affluent backgrounds living at Lillian's. And there's no discrimination between either or. So I think that's another misconception about homelessness that probably needs to be addressed as well, that it can happen, family violence can happen anywhere and anytime,
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So kind of just following up with this, what do you think are or do you think there's anything that we can do sort of as individuals to help people struggling with youth homelessness, or maybe like if we know someone around us, like what could we kind of do to support them, or help them navigate this process?
I think validate what they're feeling and what their experience is, and reach out to the services so what area are you guys in?
Oh yeah, so we mainly kind of focus on homelessness, and we're also kind of helping disadvantaged youth right now. So for example, last year in October, we had this homelessness campaign where we had around 60 care packages, and then within those care packages, we had basic living necessities like sanitary items, food. We had blankets, sunscreen, so all these like basic living necessities, and we just packaged them into small tote bags, and try to distribute into the homeless community.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But what area are you guys based in? Like what suburb?
Oh, so we're based in Hurstville, so the St. George area.
Okay,
But our
cool.
team is spread out across, but Andrew and I are based in Hurstville.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. I don't know why I asked
Yeah.
that.
So currently, are there any projects or events that you guys are working on related to homelessness, and what are you achieving? What are you trying to achieve in those projects?
We're not really doing any kind of major projects like a Youth Homelessness Matters Day or anything like that. I think we're a small service, so we don't really have a huge capacity to do much in the community, but I think we do what we can for the girls that live at Lillian's and for our girls that access our service through the outreach program. But I think for our service, like just the kinds of stuff that we try, the kind of opportunities that we like to give our girls so that they can have, like when you like are in a home that, there's the mum and dad or the mum and everyone works and things are functioning, right? Most young people have got extracurricular activities to go to, whether it's soccer or dancing or swimming or whatever. And they have outings as a family that are fantastic for, establishing positive relationships and maintaining like positive and emotional well-being. We try and recreate that here at Lillian. So we organise a lot of house outings for the girls. We organise a lot of extracurricular activities for them, like dancing. In April, we're partnered with the Yoga Foundation, so we're going on a yoga retreat at a really beautiful place. So, I think in terms of like programs that we do for the year, like I've organised self-defense and PT, like we do programs in school terms, just like a normal household would. And then in school holidays, everyone just kind of lays low and takes it easy. But we do a lot of things as a house. So we they went to the beach on Tuesday night because it was really hot all together. We go to dinners a lot. I mean, we're in Erskineville, so we're just down from Newtown, and you can imagine Newtown's got great restaurants, there's cinemas, and yeah, they go for gelatos, they living their best lives really.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
on a smaller scale, they're the kind of things that we like to do for the kids, the girls that call Lillian's home. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really important point to bring up as well, about kind of having that family bond, and especially since you mentioned before that a lot of these girls have traumatic pasts. I think being able to kind of move forward from that and fostering that healthy relationship, even like amongst those girls who are living in the Lillians, I think that's really important. And engaging in like extracurricular activities, all these other fun activities outside of academics as well. I think it's really good to refresh the mind and to provide like different ways of obviously forming like healthy friendships and meaningful relationships.
Totally. And I mean, a lot of the girls that do come here, they do struggle with friendships because they're homeless, right? They've disengaged from school a lot of the time. And coming here, we create an environment where they live together. And you guys know, you go to a boys' school, you must know, like it's hard. The dynamics between people getting it right is not always easy, and there's always issues, but like we try and foster that really positive communication. We foster attachment with each other, that affiliation. And I think doing all the house outings, they have dinner together every night. That's about fostering and creating opportunity for them to, learn how to be social with each other, how to form those friendships and how to form those attachments, and to understand that they've got a similar story, and having a similar story actually normalizes what's happened for them. And so there's not that awkwardness that you might feel with someone who doesn't have the same background as you, if that makes sense. And so a lot of the girls that do live together at Lillian's, I'm sure, like you guys, it sounds like you've looked at our videos and stuff. You know, one of the videos, the girls were saying that it's like a camp a lot of the time, you know, because that is what it's like. They have a lot of fun together. There's lots of laughter. There's lots of tears. There's lots of screaming. There's lots of, like, it can be crazy town sometimes, but, you know, really important for them, for their social and emotional well-being. It's really important for them to be able to have as normal a life as possible in this space.
Yeah. Thank you for like all the responses, and obviously for providing so much insight and detail into your organization, Lillian Howell Project, and also what you guys are working on, and all of the inspirational work that you're doing for young women right now.